Alright, next up, I want to talk about a movie called Exit Through the Gift Shop, which I don't even know where to begin on this. It's so convoluted. But, in the simplest terms, it's a documentary about street artists, which is like, most people think of street art, it's like graffiti, but there is more to it than that, and some of what they do really is art, and it's interesting. The good ones, they're putting social commentary and stuff and placing it out in the real world for people to see, and kind of turning their cities into works of art. But the movie is not just about that, and there's no way to really discuss it without just kind of giving away what it's about. I mean, I saw a lot of reviews where they like, yeah, the critics are like, yeah, go see this, but they didn't really say anything because what are you gonna? You gotta kind of tell what you gotta kind of ruin it to say what it is, but you're not really ruining much. I don't know. This is one of those ones where I love documentaries, love them, and I was kind of excited to see this because I didn't know much about it. I really knew nothing about it. I knew it was something to do with the art world, um, but it got good reviews, and I'm like, well, I like documentaries, and it got great reviews, so I gotta see it. But I got burned uh, on it, kind of. I mean, it's not terrible, but it was kind of like it's the same thing happened to me with Man on Wire, about the guy that did the tightrope walk back and forth between the twin towers in New York, and it's just that one got a bunch of rave reviews too, and I was kind of bored by it. This one wasn't so much boring; it didn't do much for me. Like I sat through the whole thing, and I was kind of mildly entertained and interested in it. But I get to the end, and I was like waiting for some huge twist or something crazy. Like they made it sound like, oh, it's got this crazy twist to it. And it just I got to the end and I was like, that's it. I've seen shit like this before. It didn't really say anything new about it. Like I thought there was a movie that came out 2 years ago, maybe. It was called My Kid Could Paint That, and it said the same thing as this, but I thought it was more interesting. Uh, anyways, let's just get into really what it's about. Basically, there's this Frenchman named Terry, who I think he's living in like L.A. or something, and he has a little like clothing shop, and he was successful enough with it. But he is obsessed with recording stuff, like with his camera, and he's been obsessed with it for a long time. But then that obsession kind of meets up with like his newfound fascination for street artists. Like he meets one guy named Space Invader, or just Invader. The guy puts like little Space Invader stuff all over cities, and he just kind of gets sucked into this whole underground art world, and he just records thousands and thousands of hours of material over probably like a dozen years. Like he just follows. I don't know how this guy like how he still had money. His wife must have been supporting him and stuff. He's a goofball. He's a dreamer, but he doesn't really have any real talent. He just wants to be part of something, and that's like the point of the movie, sort of. I mean, and so he's following these people for years, and he gets to know all these different street artists. Who these people are usually very secretive, but he gains their trust because he basically helps them do like their little missions and stuff. And then he meets this guy that is relatively famous in that world. Um, like if he does a showing or something somewhere, celebrities are gonna come out. It's this guy named Banksy who ends up directing this documentary called Exit Through the Gift Shop. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So he meets up with this guy Banksy, who like they show his stuff in it, and some of it's pretty brilliant. And this is like his big catch for him because nobody ever gets to access to this guy, and he got footage and stuff. And then they went and did a mission in Disneyland where he like made some commentary about prisoners being tortured. He like hung up a dummy of someone with like the mask over their head and the orange jumpsuit, and like Banksy gets out of there, but the guy Terry that's recording it gets caught up, and so Banks, and then the Disney police are questioning him like crazy, and this Terry guy doesn't budge. He's like, I don't know what are you talking about, whatever. So like, not only does he get out of there, not say anything, he preserves the footage and all this. And so Banksy's like, I could trust this guy. He might be crazy, but he kind of realizes at some point, oh, it'd be cool for someone to actually document all this stuff because it's all hidden. And a lot of time when I do my work, I don't get to stand at the scene of the crime and see people appreciate it. So it'd be cool to see what this guy captures. And that's basically like, for most of it, that's kind of what it's about. But then it becomes about something more, and I guess that's like the twist. Ooh. But I'm gonna give it away because it's not. It's kind of still what the movie's about. It's like, so eventually, like, all these artists and stuff, they're like, dude, you have all this material. You've been following us around for like 10 years. Um, you say you're a filmmaker or like an amateur filmmaker. You're gonna make a documentary. When does this documentary come out? You gotta put it together. And so this French guy Terry's like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And he puts together like a documentary, and they show some clips of it, and it's like just random shit. It's like really terribly done. It like almost gives you a headache. Just like 2 second clips of this, that, and like all this stuff. And he sends it to Banksy, and Banksy's just like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. But he doesn't want to see like all the work that this Terry guy has done go to waste. So he's like, hey man, give me the footage and maybe I could try putting together a movie out of it and we'll see what happens. And Banksy puts it as like he's like I don't know shit about making movies, but apparently this guy doesn't know shit about making movies either, and I think I could do a better job than him. So he's like, give me your footage and stuff. And he's like, why don't you go back to Los Angeles or whatever and find your calling as an artist? Try to become a street artist. Like, do some street art of your own. You've been following us for so long, you should do it yourself. And Terry, this French guy, just takes that and runs with it. He's like, I'm gonna be the next, Banksy. Like, I'm gonna put on a big art show and I'm gonna make a bunch of money and everyone's gonna come see me. But the problem is, the guy has no artistic talent, and he hasn't been working on his craft for years. He hasn't been honing it. He hasn't been doing anything. He's been following these guys around with a camera. And so he goes and he tries to put on his own show, and lo and behold, because of hype and marketing, and because he got like his street artist friends to back him up on it, people actually show up to his show, and he actually makes money. And it's kind of, it's funny. I mean, and Banksy even says at some point, he's like, it makes me feel like maybe, I'm an idiot for doing like working on my stuff for all these years. He's like, maybe art is a bit of a joke. And I guess it is a bit of a joke, but like the thing that I just got out of the movie is like, only in the art world are there so many suckers that like a fraud like this guy Terry can become a success. He basically hires a bunch of artists to make stuff for him. Like, he comes up with ideas, and it's all rip off of stuff he's seen other people do, and they do it for him, and he makes money off of it. And people are convinced like, oh, this guy's the next. What the hell does he name himself? Because you have to come up with like a street name, and it's something Mr. Brainwash. And then people are like, oh, Mr. Brainwash, who's this Mr. Brainwash? I gotta see his stuff. And like they go to a show, and it's a bunch of you know imitation garbage, and people are like, this is the real deal, and they buy it. And I guess that's giving away the whole movie, but does that sound like something really worth sitting through? Like, I guess it's interesting enough, and it does have something to say. It really does have something to say, and it's I appreciate what this guy Banksy, who is just an artist, like what he did as a director here. He took thousands of hours of footage and made a coherent movie out of it that says something. And it's not a bad movie. It isn't. I guess the reason I'm down on it is because one, I feel like I've seen this before done better, and it was called "My Kid Could Paint That." It's a really good documentary. And two, it was kind of overhyped by critics, overpraised. It's not as special as they say it is. It's good. He does a fine job. Like Banksy did a fine job, and this Terry guy is an interesting character, and it's an interesting like peek into the art world, into an underground art world that you haven't really seen before. And it's fun to laugh at these idiots that buy this shit. So I guess I'm not saying it's bad at all, but it's just another thing that this year. One, this has been a really shitty year for movies. But two, it's like every movie this year that I've heard hyped by either by critics or by people I know, I see it and I'm like, really? That's you thought that was that good? Like I haven't seen many movies this year that I was just blown away by. The only one I could think of I was blown away by was Frozen. And then there were just like a couple movies that I thought didn't get enough attention that were pretty cool. Like they weren't great, but like Brooklyn's Finest, no one really gave a shit or saw that. And I thought it was decent. Shutter Island, people shit on that movie. I thought it was really good. But I mean, look at it. That's 2010. Those are the great movies. You know, Frozen's my best movie I've seen. And you know, and now all these like big hyped movies are coming out on DVD, and I'm seeing them. I'm like, you know, Inception it was good but not great. This one good but not the must see documentary, like thoroughly entertaining documentary that critics made it out to be. And then there's another movie that a lot of people I know loved, and I'll be talking about that soon, probably later tonight. That it was another one was like, that's it. That's what was so special. I mean, it's not a piece of shit, but there's no point to it. It doesn't go anywhere. Like we'll talk about that movie when I get to it, but and I'm not shitting on Exit Through the Gift Shop. If you know, if you're really into art, or you're interested in like street art and stuff like that, or maybe you haven't seen a lot of documentaries. I mean, no, I wouldn't say that. If you haven't seen a lot of documentaries, there's much stronger recommendations I can make. You know, because this isn't going to be the movie that turned you on to documentaries. If you watch tons of documentaries like me and you love them, give it a shot. It's on instant play. So I mean, it's worth it just because of that. I guess it's on instant play. You could give it a shot. If it doesn't hook you or whatever, or if it sucks, at least you didn't have to waste a disc rental on it. You just watched it instantly. But you know, I guess interesting enough, but like I said, overpraised and I've seen it before. I've seen the same idea before with My Kid Could Paint That. Now this is a different aspect of it, and it was probably the coolest part was seeing the street art. But the whole narrative regarding Terry and how he's a fraud who just wants to, you know, he's like a dreamer who wants to be somebody. It didn't do it for me. I didn't really feel anything. And you know, if it doesn't make me feel anything, then it can't really be a great movie or a great doc. I mean, The Cove that almost made me cry. Like, make me feel something. Then you're a great documentary. Startup.com. Um, but this was just it was okay. It's something to watch if you have nothing else to watch and you dig documentaries. But if you're someone that's not into documentaries, there's no way I'm gonna recommend this to you. But I don't. I've gone on too long about it. I mean, like I said, not a bad movie at all, but nothing special. Uh, I mean, kudos to Banksy for putting it together like he did and making it work, and not really picking on his buddy too much. But that's it. It's 3 out of 5 stars. There's better documentaries out there. There's got to be better documentaries from this year. I had hope. But until next time, thanks for watching.